Alright, so hello tennis guys and welcome to my channel. So I have here another tennis racket comparison. And you might be thinking, tennis guy, what are you doing? You are comparing a tfight 305S 2025 to a Gravity MP 2025. Isn't it absurd to compare a 98 with a 100? What are you doing, tennis guy? You compared the tfight with the latest Gravity Tour. That's enough. Guys, it's not enough because actually the new Gravity MP 2025 is closer in terms of the playability and how you feel the racket when you are hitting with it to the new tfight than the Tour version of the Gravity. So guys, let's go for the comparison. And by the way, I received a very nice comment in my previous comparison with the tfight and the Gravity Tour, and it actually kicked me to do this comparison. And one of you mentioned that actually the Gravity MP is really, in terms of the playability and the sensation you get, is closer to the tfight 305S than the Tour version. Isn't it absurd? It might look like, but if you look at the, and that's really important. If you look at the fact how the racket actually plays, not only on the specifications, which are of course in many of the numbers very different, but how you feel, how you kind of react with the racket, then it is actually closer, because the Tour, the Gravity Tour version is, and I didn't mention that in that video, is a lot more demanding compared to the tfight 305S in the crucial situation. So if you are a little bit more tired, then the Gravity Tour will let you know that you are not ready for that racket. So in my ultimate and final review for both of the Gravities MP and Tour, I talked about how I was constantly switching between these two rackets, and I really loved coming from the Tour to the MP, which gave me this easiness. Everything is a lot easier, but if you look at the string pattern that is denser, it kind of compensates the bigger head and makes the MP version comparable in terms of the control and precision with the Tour version. But it is easier to use and kind of more fun. So guys, let's go to this comparison. I'm really thrilled to compare these two rackets that can on paper look different. So let's start with the head size. So of course, the tfight is 98 square inches, 630 square centimeters, compared to the bigger head size of the MP 2025 Gravity, 100 square inches, 645 square centimeters. Very obvious which of these two rackets has bigger sweet spot, and it is easier to find your shots on a run, or if you are in defense, the bigger head will help you much more compared to the Tour version, which in some situations is kind of muted. So if you are not ready for the shot, if you are not very well prepared, then the Tour is not helping, and mostly in the defense situations where just it is kind of so low powered in some of the defense situations that you might like the MP a lot more compared to the Tour. Now the weight plays also a major role. There is a 10-gram difference. Of course, the tfight is 305 and the Gravity MP is 295. So 10 grams lighter than the tfight and 10 grams lighter than the Tour version of the Gravity. That is huge. But if you look at the balance for the Gravity MP is 325 compared to the 315 on the tfight. So 1 centimeter more shift to the head heavier balance, and you get the sense of the plow through, that it makes the MP very comparable in terms of the power, how it generates the power. It is just that you have a little bit more of the head speed from the Gravity MP. But overall, it is not that difficult to use the racket. So 10 gram lighter, 1 centimeter more to the head, very comparable plow through. Actually, maybe with the MP, even the head flies really forward easier, so you can accelerate the head better compared to the tfight. And one more note on the balance. So it truly feels like the tfight has this middle section balance, let's say from the middle of the head to the end, or let's say to the beginning of the grip under the throat. So it is really balanced kind of evenly in the middle of the racket, down from the head down to the end of the throat and beginning of the grip. On the other hand, the Gravity MP is truly balanced more, let's say, from the middle section of the throat to the upper section of the head. I will just show you with my mouse. So when we look at the tfight, the balance is from this section, from the middle of the head, down to the end of the throat where the grip begins. So this section, it is really nicely balanced in the center. On the other hand, the 325 balance on the Gravity MP is balanced from the middle of the throat, not from the end of the throat, but from the middle to the upper part of the head. Not over, let's say over the top, it's not over there. It would have been like, 330, 335, but this type of balance with this weight is a little bit more up here in the head. So the plow through is just, it just accelerates the head more. So when you want to spin the ball, actually the Gravity MP will give you that spin. Now, when we look at the swing weight, it is very, very close to each other. So as you can see, the first number from the Tennis Warehouse website, 324. If you look at the Gravity from the Tennis Warehouse website, 323. There you have it. With the Tour, there was 328 on the Tennis Warehouse website. But if you look at my number, the tfight is 320. It is based on the Razer Soft 1.25 string. And the Gravity MP had 315 swing weight on my swing weight machine. And it is based on the Head Hawk Touch string 1.25. So according to my number, it is 5 points lower the swing weight compared to the tfight, and I like that actually a lot because the 315, it's a fast swinging racket, really easy to control. Now the stiffness and flex. So the tfight is stiffer at 63 RA. I consider still as it as a soft racket, and I would actually like to have the tfight with a RA around 65, 66, 67. A little bit stiffer. I think the flex is kind of, thanks also to the ISOFlex technology, which I will talk about later, it's kind of somehow a little bit weird, so it is flexing maybe too much, and then the power can be really over the floor. And the Gravity MP has a very, very flexible frame, 57 RA, even 2 RA points more flexible compared to the Tour version. It comes with the cost of even harming your arm. You can really get tennis elbow and golfer's elbow and some issues with your arm. I talk about it in the previous comparison with the Tour version, that people don't want to hear that, and it's not talk enough that softer frames have longer ball dwell time. The ball stays longer on the racket, on the strings. It pushes your hand a lot more compared to a stiffer racket that reacts instantly. But with this pressure that is applied to your arm, when you hit it too late behind your body, you are in a bad position. You can get some arm problems. That's why these flexible, very flexible rackets, which should possess, the very nice comfort, can also be very dangerous in these situations. So hit in front, hit correctly, and then you will have no problem. But I don't consider these very flexible frames like the Gravity MPs like a racket for some beginners or lower beginners. Not at all, because the flexibility and in combination with the wrong technique, hitting late, there is a lot more force that is applied to your hand compared to a stiffer beam that reacts quickly and without the flexing and without forcing your arm, going more and more, even more behind you when you hit the ball late. So that's a warning point with these very soft rackets. Now the beam width, the tfight is 22.5 millimeters, Gravity 22 millimeters, constantly the same beam width, nice, thin, like the Tour version. And that is something that is really surprising also with the Gravity series. I didn't, let's say, mention it in the previous comparison, but I did talk about it in my final ultimate review of the Gravities, that the switch between the MP version and the Tour version is seamless. And that is something that is not very often to see with the other racket companies, other brands. You can't just grab a blade 100 and switch to a blade 98 without really changing how you play and without really, improving a lot, because those two rackets are quite a lot different. So blade 100, blade 98, like two different sticks. But with the Gravity MP and Gravity Tour, they have this same platform. So the base and the frame, it is the same. You just get a bigger head and more weight and a little bit different shift in the balance. But that's it. It's the same platform, it's the same racket, but with many other sticks in the same series. The heavier rackets really play a lot different compared to the lighter rackets, but that is not the case. So switching between Gravity MP and Tour, very easy, very seamless. I even recommend, or I can even imagine, that you have in your bag like one Gravity MP, one Tour, one racket, the Tour version when you feel it, when you are in a, you have a good day, you possess great power, great strength, you are physically ready, prepared. And the Gravity MP just on the bad days, let's say when you are not really ready for the hard match, you feel tired, just switch these rackets. You can really feel that it's just easier and more comfortable to hit with the MP. And when you want to kill your opponent and you feel like that, just grab the Tour. Now the string pattern, that's where these things come interesting in my opinion. So the tfight 18x19, unusual string pattern. More rackets should be made with this type of pattern. It combines the precision and control of 18x20, but it also has a great spin potential when you want it, when you need it. But the racket is not overspinning the balls. The spin is there when you need it. You can create a spin, but it's not like a spin machine that just overspins the ball when you don't really need that. On the other hand, there is the 16x20 Gravity MP, and that's really interesting because it compensates a little bit the 16x19 string pattern that is more open with the Tour version. And you might be thinking, okay, but the head is kind of a lot bigger, then it doesn't make any big difference, but it actually does. So when I was hitting with the MP and Tour, I didn't really felt like the Tour is more precise somehow, like, oh, this racket is so precise that it really overplays the MP. Not at all. I kind of found the 16x20 string pattern more enjoyable, more pleasing to the bigger head. So very comparable precision and control with both of these versions. And that's why the Gravity MP is also comparable with the tfight 305S. Now the composition, graphite on the tfight and graphene inside and auxetic 2.0 on the Gravity MP. Guys, both rackets are made out of graphite. That's it. We don't really know, we don't really see the layup, how the graphite is layup or the layup is made, but they just name it graphene inside and auxetic 2.0, which is one of those, let's say, most important technologies in the new head lines of rackets. So let's go to the technologies. I will just go a little bit quicker through these, but if you are new, I think you would like to hear more about them. So with the tfight, the Isoflex technology was there also with the previous generation. What it does is that the racket is stiff at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on the head, and it is soft in the section at 12 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. So this makes the head to flex, which is not very common, let's say, with most rackets. So there is this kind of unique flexibility of the head. It feels like when you hit the ball, I don't have a proper tennis ball here, but if you hit a ball, well, I have here a tennis ball. Wait a moment, I will grab this. So I have here this brand new Wilson Tour. So when you hit the ball with your strings, with the head, then I kind of feel with the tfight that it works like this. So it really grabs the ball because it is flexible in the in the center, and on the sides it is a little bit stiffer. So it kind of grabs the ball like this. So let's say like this, and then it launches the ball. It has this trampoline effect, and also the ball stays kind of quite long on the string. So that's why you feel this kind of unique flexibility on the tfight. So it is unique, but it can also cause some weird vibrations, and the overall flexibility of the frame is like the racket bends not only in the throat, but it bends here in the middle, in the bridge. It bends on the 12 o'clock, and it is stiffer for more stability on the 3 o'clock and the 6 o'clock. But the overall wavy kind of instability, let's say, or this wavy behavior can also cause you some arm problems, which, by the way, some of the viewers already mentioned in my ultimate review of the tfight 305S, that they got instant elbow problems when testing this racket. So guys, every racket reacts differently with every person, so everyone is sensitive in a different way when playing with a tennis racket. So there is not like one recommendation that will say this racket is perfectly safe for everyone. No, it is not. Even a Wilson Clash can give you a tennis elbow. That's it. That's it. So you must think of demoing these rackets before you truly buy them. Next, there is the RS section. The RS section was there in the previous generation and in the previous generation also. And what does it mean? It is that the throat, when you look at the throat is made out of combination of boxed beam and oval beam. So you get this frame with 5 sides. So it is not oval, it is not box, it doesn't have 4 sides, but it is not oval, and it has this 5-sided shape. But it actually, when you count the sides, it is actually 6 sides, but Tecnifibre is talking about 5 sides. And this new RS section, I should have written there that is the new RS section updated from the previous ISO generation, is 4% thicker for better stability and more free power. Next, the racket is filled with foam, which I found really fantastic. I think like all of the rackets on the performance level should be filled with foam, which I have observed gives the racket more solid feel, also better, compact comfort. You just feel like the racket is one piece, and the feedback is like more solid. You just feel like the racket is overall like somehow better built inside. It's not like that airy or like that fragile, let's say. It's just filled, so it works a little bit better compared, in my opinion, compared to non-foam filled rackets. And then there is the Easy Lock Plus eyelets. That's just these reinforced grommets from the inside of the head where the stringer makes the knots. So when he tightens the strings, the knots will not damage this part, these Easy Lock Plus eyelets, because they are made out of very stiff plastic material that doesn't break like the standard grommets. And I think more companies should do this type of grommets because they just hold a lot better. And we all know that the knots, after like 10 string jobs, the grommets on the knots are really damaged badly. So with this, there is no damage to the grommets kind of at all, actually. So now let's jump to the Gravity MP technology. So graphene inside, it is graphite, guys. It is graphite. Head is talking about like the racket is reinforced by the graphene inside on the most crucial parts. Who knows how it is? In my opinion, that's just a kind of, a gimmick or a slogan. But yeah, they call it graphene inside. It sounds nice, it sounds good, but it's just graphite, right? What is more interesting and what is the pinnacle of the new generation of head rackets that are all now filled with the Auxetic 2.0 technology is this technology, which is now also at the end of the handle. So there is this carbon fiber cage, which is made out of these auxetic particles, and they work also like let's say like a trampoline. So the particles are bending and pulling, so they react like this. So when you hit the ball, they just kind of squeeze, and when you are releasing the ball, they go back to its original position. So there is also this trampoline effect, and it adds also to the comfort because the auxetic consumes also the negative vibrations, but it also gives the free energy, free power back to the ball. So instead of just having the Auxetic 1.0 in the bridge, in the throat section, where there's the connection of the bottom of the head, now it is also at the end of the handle. Some people don't like that new 2.0 Auxetic because they say now the racket is just too muted, I don't feel anything. But overall, it is a very compact and very solid feedback that you get from the racket, and I don't mind it at all. Is it an improvement? It is really very individual, I would say. So I think it is a very good overall technology that helps the racket to feel more overall solid. And maybe it is something that can a little bit mimic the foam inside of the tfight. So now the sweet zone. The sweet zone is actually the biggest, in my opinion, feature of the gravities. And it's just basically the head shape of the gravity. So when you look at it, some people call it very nicely a teardrop shape. As you can see on the downside, it is kind of slim, and then it opens up, and it stays really opened up to the hoop. So the sweet spot of the gravities is higher, let's say, compared to the standard rackets like with the tfight. So you can say like the tfight has the sweet spot a little bit lower, like almost in the middle of the racket, but with the gravity you get the sweet spot where the point of the head logo, where the spot, where the center point is, so it is pretty high, and the racket really generates there the most power, the most spin, the most energy, the most plow through. I would say one negative this head shape has is that, in my opinion, the tfight is better on volleys, just because it has this more kind of traditional shape. And you know that volleys, you don't hit volleys on the net up, but you hit them in the center or even lower than the center of the head. And there is not the right kind of feel and the reaction of the frame from the gravity. I think still the gravities have great volleys, or are great on the volleys, but with the tfight I felt more confident and more powerful and more connected, because you can hit the ball lower and still the head is there pretty much wide, the same like in the center. So I like the traditional head shapes for the volleys more. Now, the technology called elliptical beam means that the gravity is also made out of, let's say, the beam is made from kind of not a boxed beam. It looks like a boxed beam, right? It has these edges, but they are like oval. So it's elliptical. The beam is elliptical more than boxed, but it kind of a little bit mimics the boxed beam of, let's say, prestige rackets or pro staff rackets, but it is a little bit more round for a nice blend of power and at the same time control and precision. The flex groove technology is the groove at the bottom of the throat, which is very pronounced, is huge, is big, and that's why the gravities are so flexible. So compared to the other rackets, compared to the, let's say, head speed, the speed is not as deep here, the groove. So that's why this racket is just more flexible, and that's why it gives the racket a little bit more control, the flexibility, longer dwell time. Once again, the ball stays a lot longer on the strings. That's why you can control the ball longer, because you just feel the ball longer on the strings and on the racket. So you kind of drag the ball longer before it is truly launched uncontrollably compared to the stiffer rackets, let's say compared to pure drives or E-zones or similar rackets that have just a stiffer reaction. So the last technology is called half cap, and it comes from prestige rackets. Believe it or not, the new gravities have these grommets, the grommet system, or the bumper guard. The bumper guard has this tunnel where the string is hidden. So the bumper guard hides the string on the outside, but it is just half. It is called half cap because it ends just in the, not truly in the half of the head, but it's almost, let's say, in the middle of the head. But compared to the full cap of the prestige rackets, which covers the whole head down to the, 7 o'clock, let's say here on this side, and 5 o'clock on the other side. So this half cap comes from prestige rackets, and what it also does, it does not only protect the strings very well, but it also creates this crazy sound, whistling sound. I was mentioning it in the review that these rackets have crazy whistling sound. You can hear that when you swing fast, and when you have this certain angle of the racket during the swing, then you can hear really whistling, because the air is going through the tunnel where the strings are hidden in the bumper guard, and that creates the sound. Like it's like, so it's whistling, the racket is whistling, and you can hear that. And I believe your partner in doubles will hear that. And I believe even other players who play outside, or on the other court, will hear that. Is it good? Well, it's fun, but maybe it can be disturbing to some players, but it is truly unique. I even experienced that. There was my friend, a coach from the club in the České Budějovice. I was hitting with the gravities, I was testing them, and he came to the court just to watch me when I was hitting with one junior, and he was there staying like 3 minutes. And the first thing he told me, like, what are your rackets whistling? And I was like, yeah, these are the new gravities. And he looked at them and he was like, oh, I know this, because he's using Prestige racket with a full cap. So he noticed that, and he maybe thought, oh, this is the new Prestige. But no, this is the gravity. And he saw the racket for the first time. So there you have the story that really shows you that a whistling racket exists and is the new Gravity 2025. So now we have all the parameters, specification, and details. Let's truly talk about how I feel about these rackets. So, as I told you in my comparison with the Tour, I like the tfight 305S more compared to the Gravity Tour because, in my opinion, it is a more complete racket. It doesn't suit not only players from the baseline, but also players who plays all round tennis, who goes on the net, who attacks, who is a serve and volley player, who plays doubles, and so on. So in my opinion, the tfight is a more complete racket than the Gravities, also based on the shape of the head and how the racket is just made. But with the Gravity MP, the maneuverability is so much better, it's so much easier, that the Gravity MP is, in my opinion, closer to the also quite playful tfight 305S compared to the Tour. So I truly enjoy the Gravity MP more because when I was testing those rackets, I was tired because I was testing the rackets a lot. I was playing with juniors, seniors, and testing the racket a couple of hours a day. And I was like, oh man, once again I have the Tour. I can't truly hit the ball properly because my arm is tired. I feel the fatigue. I don't have the energy level. And I switched to the Gravity MP and it was like, wow, it's there. I can do what I want on the court. It's easier. It's kind of more fun. It's more relaxing. I don't need to focus that much on each of the shots. And I still get that really nice, very nice spin potential, very good power level, very good stability. But of course, when you are in the zone, you feel it. The Tour is just a more advanced and more, let's say, professional oriented racket with more pop, higher energy return from the racket. But you just need to feel it. You just have to play aggressive. Otherwise, in the defense, from the defense point of view, the Gravity MP is better because you can accelerate the racket better even when you are in the defense, and it will reward you with a very good free power. So actually, does the MP produce higher velocity, higher speedier shots compared to the Tour? I would say it like this. So if you are an intermediate player, you have a certain type of swing, certain type of speed of your swing that is not on a pro level, and you hit with the MP, you will get more power from the MP compared to the Tour. So if you have a slower swing, the MP will actually reward you with more free power, also thanks to the bigger head size compared to the Tour version, which somehow feels like the energy is more compressed and is more focused on the really fast swinging player who really swings through the ball. But if you are someone who is like brushing the ball a little bit more, who is a baseliner, who plays maybe some higher shots, I don't want to say like you are a pusher, but maybe some kind of, semi-aggressive pusher, let's say, then the MP will suit you better. Also women, it will suit better the MP version, juniors, MP version, and so on and so on. So the Tour MP version in my opinion, or for my also play and taste, the MP is just better because it is more fun for a longer period of time, and I don't need to be always ready and always in the zone. So which of these two rackets I would choose? That's really hard. So with the Tour, I was pretty easily kind of convinced that the tfight 305S is a better racket because it is more complete, and at the same time it's just not that easy to, it is not that difficult to swing the racket. But with the Gravity MP, the Gravity is so easy, but yet it is so capable that I'm kind of split in here. I cannot decide really. Both rackets have their sensations, and I can't really say whether I would choose the tfight or Gravity. And by the way, the Gravity really looks so good and so nice that I would just give slight edge to the Gravity, maybe just thanks also to the overall finish. Both rackets are glossy, but just the Gravity feels like it's like kind of more premium, more polished. Also the color, it is really, really nice combination. And I would say that the Gravities, and that's why I have rated the Gravities 10 out of 10 points. It doesn't mean that those are best rackets in the world or best rackets in the history or something like that. Not at all. But the Gravities are in their category of, I would say, modern power rackets with control element and with this kind of controllable power. They are really on the highest level you can get. But on the other hand, the tfight 305S, with its complete package that gives you like everything from all of the worlds, and everything is on a 9 out of 10 point level. That's why I gave the tfight 9 out of 10. Because, not 10 out of 10, why? Because I think that in the same category there are also so many good rackets like Blade 98 version 9 that I'm just not I just didn't feel like the tfight 305S deserves the 10 out of 10. But the Gravities in the category of the rackets where the Gravities are, as I said, modern power rackets with the control, thanks to the thinner beam also, they are like the pinnacle of a modern power control oriented racket. So guys, I don't have a favorite here, just decide yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your comments, which always inspire me. There is always someone who just brings an idea that I kind of totally forgot about that. And it was the case also with this comparison, that the Gravity Tour is kind of a lot more heavier and demanding at the end of the day compared to the tfight, also thanks to the 320 balance and the same weight. So that's why I liked in my previous comparison the tfight 305 as more compared to the Gravity Tour. But in this case, these rackets are both like on the same level of enjoyment. So guys, thank you for your comments. Thank you for supporting my channel. And of course, if you are new, please subscribe to my channel. Donate something if you feel that. There is the super thanks button, buy me a coffee platform, PayPal, Stripe option. Any donation is highly appreciated. And that's all for now. I thank you so much for watching. And as always, enjoy tennis, play tennis every time, every day. Watch tennis, don't forget. And I will catch you in my next video. Enjoy the maneuverability. Bye guys.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious! That ball was on the line!